not fit in the boxes. Stop it, quitting was never an option. Exhausted, this passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it. Quitting was never an option. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it.
Can you walk us through a little bit, going back to around, your teenage years and how you got into manifestation and what was your first biggest move that you were able to manifest to get you on track to where you're going now?
100%.
Yeah.
And thank you for allowing me to share that. I grew up in post-communist Romania. I was born in communism. It just went down when I was 6 months old. Then the whole period after communism was very hectic, very chaotic. We still had a society with so much damage inflicted in people's psyche because of communism. And the thing is that, because now I look a lot at my past, like the first 7 years determine how we're shaped. And I was brought up in this like chaotic environment. And my family, my mom was going through a divorce, and I had to go through some surgeries, and I had like experienced a lot of physical pain, a lot of uncertainty. So that caused me to be very skeptical towards my outside environment. So I'm always, because I could not trust my environment. So I'm always like, okay, I became my, let's say, best supporter since I was a kid, because I was like, we got to survive in this world, and people are not really having your back. So this forced me to be very skeptical. I would always analyze things. And this got me to always, for example, in school, we were studying religion. I loved religion. Because a part of me felt spirituality, but I always saw what the priests are doing in Romania. So I would always debate. I would get up in the 5th grade and I would debate my religion teacher. I would be like, hey, you know what? Ancient Greeks, they were doing very well. They were flourishing civilization like 2,500 years ago. Why are their gods wrong and our God right? And the teacher would be like, you cannot say this, you're gonna go to hell. And they're like, okay, forget about ancient Greeks. What about, we're Orthodox, we're 200 million people. What about Catholics? They're 1.2 billion. It seems like they're having better lives. It looks like God's rewarding them better. Why should I be Orthodox? We're really poor. So I had this kind of like debating and trying to like help people not be like, let's say, scammed by the system. I was also in hospital many times. I would see how people are being treated in the ex-communist Romania hospital system. So I'm very atheist and very rational. And then that thing happened we talked about in the first podcast. When I was in the 7th grade, I had a very severe infection. My appendix burst inside of me. And usually you just need to go and get a surgery because you can die in hours. I stayed with it for 3 days. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you back then in the first podcast, but like when they did surgery on me, because I was in a small town, didn't have a doctor to operate on me. When they did a surgery on me, they put me on the operating table and the nurse wanted to remove a bracelet from my hand. And I said, please don't remove that bracelet because I'm going to die if you remove it, because there was a little cross on the bracelet. Now later I found out that cross was the ISIS Key of Life cross, the Egyptian cross. I didn't know. So I was praying for life. Basically, without knowing. But what happened after those 3 days is that in the middle of it, I had a spiritual experience. Where out of all that pain that I was feeling, I went to this place where I could feel bliss. And I felt that everything's beautiful. And I had this intelligence speak to me without voice, but more of a feeling. And I had a choice to go back. And I said, yeah, I want to go back. The pain came back. I was 1.5 months in the hospital. 7th grade. When I left, everything was different because I could see things different. I could feel different. So, and I never told this to people because I was afraid that people would think I'm nuts. And I'm gonna get locked somewhere in a mental asylum, right? So this was like my teenage years. Like, what's happening? Where do we come from? Why are we here? Right? And then my whole manifestation journey happened when I was 19. I moved from a small town in Romania to Bucharest. And I got a job there at a video production house because I wanted to meet celebrities. I didn't believe in the schooling system anymore. I used to be the top in my school. And like I said, I grew up kind of like not trusting things.
Yeah.
And interesting thing that happened, I want to add, when I was in the 8th grade, the doctor that performed surgery on me, he hung himself.
Oh man.
And
Goodness.
I'm like, whoa. So you're telling me that you should go through the schooling system and get great grades and then become a doctor or a lawyer and then you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
Why did that guy kill himself?
Right.
Right?
A lot of questions arising now in your mind. Yeah.
I was the top student in my school. We have we grade from 1 to 10 in Romania, top 10 being the best.
Yeah.
Until the 7th grade, I always had straight 10s. So much pressure to perform. All the teachers, because they it's a very fear-driven school system. All teachers were like, you gotta be the best. When I went to high school, I said to my mom, I'm like, Mom, that's enough. This is not how things.
Yeah.
So when I was in Bucharest, I'm like, I'm gonna get a job, maybe meet some celebrities. If they find out that I'm like a, hardworking, loyal person, maybe I can, make something out of myself. Because school. And my life changed. One time we were filming a show, and we interviewed one of the richest guys in Romania, self-made man. And I was the driver. I would carry the equipment, put them on the set. Then the crew would do their thing. I would wait. Carry it back, drive, and that was my job.
Wow.
So when we were having that interview, the guy came on the set, and I was in the back of the room, just waiting. And he came and he shook hands with everyone in the set. Yeah. And then he walked to the back of the room, and he shook hands with me. He introduced himself. And I was shocked again, because I was like, oh my God, why did this guy came and shake hands with me? I'm nobody. I am literally nobody. I'm just a young guy, I'm the driver.
Wow.
And then I'm like, this is another thing that's not true, because they teach us that rich people are bad, arrogant, money is bad, everything's bad, right? And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Then I went and asked my boss, I'm like, boss, can you tell me how this guy got, so wealthy? And my boss said, go and watch the movie The Secret, because it will teach you some principles. Yeah. And I learned in The Secret, that it doesn't matter where you're from. There's power in your mind. It doesn't matter if you're born in Romania or in India or in America. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter. What matters is that there's power here. Yeah. And we know very little about who we truly are. And then I got into Bob Proctor's programs.
Oh man, powerful stuff.
So powerful.
Oh man.
He just stood out from The Secret. And it was very hard to get information back then. We didn't have everything on YouTube channels and so on. So I ended up buying one of his programs on goal setting and goal achieving, and it was $200. Wow. Now back then my salary was $300. And if you're in Romania, you never buy stuff from the internet. You just, when we grew up with this mentality, you just take stuff. Right? Sorry, but that was the thing.
That's your upbringing. Yeah.
And I got this program. When I got it, because it was a stretch for me to get it, I was like, I'm gonna do what he says. And then he says that we should set goals that are so big that we have no idea how we're gonna get them. Yeah. And we should set goals that scare and excite us in the same time. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So then I'm writing a list of things that I want to manifest. Like get a better place where I can stay. I was paying 40 euros a month rent. Wow. My roommate was dealing weed. I would come back from work at 11 p.m. He would come in the middle of the night. We were sharing the same bed. I have a video on YouTube with the house. And he would go get in bed with me. Yeah. I would sleep. He would smoke a joint and just pass out. I didn't like it. So I'm like, move into a nicer place. Get a... And then while I'm writing this down, there's a voice inside my head that says, wouldn't it be great if Bob Proctor would come to Romania and teach this information in Romania? And wouldn't it be great if you would learn how to teach this information to people here or, in Romania? And then when that thought finished, another thought came and said, but it's impossible. Wow. You're 19, you don't have any money, you don't know anyone. And then I had this moment of, I would say, enlightenment, like a Satori moment. They call it in Buddhism, like a glimpse of truth. Yeah. When I'm like, this is exactly what he's talking about in this program. We have an inspiring thought for a second. The next moment, a voice of limitation comes and says it's not possible. Yep. And I wrote it down. I said, I'm going to be with Bob Proctor on stage in Romania. I'm going to learn how to teach this information. Boom. I wrote it down. I followed the process. He talks about, in less than a year, I was on stage with him in Romania. Then when I turned 21, I was graduating his school of teaching how to teach this information to others in Florida, not far from here, in Delray Beach, on my birthday.
Wow.
I had lunch with Bob Proctor. I graduated.
That's around the corner.
And it's like on my birthday, graduating this evening, having lunch with Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
And Bob liked me a lot.
Yeah.
And then I ended up working in his company in Scottsdale, in Arizona. And one day I'm doing one of his meditations. I was working in his coaching department. I was the youngest guy in his coaching department. I love what I was doing. I was working with 8 people a day. And I was doing one of his meditations. And in the meditation, I just got this image. I was like, we did something in Romania. Now we're here. Like, I want to reach 1 million people with this information. And it just felt so good.
Yeah.
It felt so alive here.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I going to do that? Because like simple math, if I work with 8 people a day, 500 years to reach 1 million people.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we love biohacking, but I don't know. But then I'm like, I'm going to hold this feeling inside. And then maybe 2 weeks later, we were organizing an event with Bob in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
And with some internet marketers, like a combined event. Bob was teaching mindset.
Yeah.
They were teaching internet marketing. And the guy was on stage and he said, look, if you have a blog or a service, and if you want to use ads, he said, don't use Google ads. No, don't use Facebook ads. He said, use Google ads because they're better. Facebook is just getting started. Their targeting is not well. Or, you know what I did? I went home and I went on Facebook and I put an ad on Facebook. I did the exact opposite. And I started, dabbling a bit into Facebook. I'm like, just got this idea. I'm like, people are going to group up together in communities in the future. This was 2011, by the way. And then we started communities on Facebook. We started communities on Instagram, Law of Attraction Live being like the biggest one of them. And we just like kept posting and posting. Wow. We created the vibe of the day concept. And the idea is like, this is not going to revolutionize someone's life. But you know what? We just need some reminders from time to time of who we are, what's possible. Right. And I think we're achieving that through Law of Attraction Live, like a little bit of inspiration that can just help you make a good decision throughout the day.
Yeah, that's an amazing story because you can see the process where you started out in a tumultuous, very bad situation of growing up financially and also in a war-torn area. And then being able, well, not really directly war-torn, but at least communist, right? Which a lot of the times you end up in war because they automatically subscribe you to the military a lot of times.
And it can be even worse because we had 40 years of communism. Wow. Imagine the programming. Like war can be so evident. You can have war and then be like, it's very traumatizing. But then something big happened. But this is 40 years like generational programming of not trusting, of not feeling safe, of like living in fear. Yeah,
it's pretty tough. It's epigenetically, it carries that through generation to generation. And then I can see the progress to where, you begin the process of manifestation or consciously thinking about creating a manifestation, but then the self-limiting thought creeps in. Dr. Daniel Amen calls them ants, automatic negative thoughts. They creep in, but you overcame that even, which is hard for a lot of people to get past that first initial negative thought, and then they will just go back into their shell. And they still want to manifest, but that fear keeps them back. And you were able to overcome that fear. And I think that your best ability that I've seen so far is your ability to get people beyond that fear. You get them to come out of their shell. You get them to break through. And when they break through, then they're able to grow and prosper and able to begin to the rest of the manifestation process. I also see where you did something very, very important. You took action. A lot of people, they begin the manifestation process. They get past the fear. They're writing down their goals and everything else. And they're like, this is going to happen. But then they forgot, I got to do something. Yeah. There's got to be an energy exchange that has to happen. And you exchange energy by how? Finding a way to take that money, that sweat money that you created, that $300 salary, and chipping away at that to invest in that, what do you call it? The guide, right? Or the manual. The program. And then from doing that, you actually took the steps. That's more energy. And then you actually traveled to the location to be in a place where this man actually was. That's more energy. Yeah. And then you had to have the courage to even talk to him. More energy. So I'm showing you guys that to manifest, You can do it, but you have to have courage, and you have to transmit or transfer or exchange in some way, shape, or form energy. Because if you don't take any action, it's not going to work. I have a new formula that I've been working on. It's CT multiplied by A equals M. Conscious thought multiplied by action equals manifestation. You can't get to the manifestation without that.
That's so good. And you know what? When I turned 21, I had lunch with Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
And I asked him, what's your secret to success? Because you can have a project and become successful and then like disappear, but he was successful for 50 years.
That's incredible.
And I was still in this kind of like paradigm where I thought like he has like a secret formula or a secret sauce or something that only he knows and like makes him, you know, like you name it once and then like boom, you're set. And I asked him like, what's your secret? And he said there are two things. He said, number one, I wake up early. He said, number two, I study and I do something meaningful towards my goal every single day.
Boom.
And he said, greatness is not something you just achieve once. Greatness is a matter of doing small things in a great way every single day. So it's basically what you're saying is like taking that action and putting that thought energy into it. And what's beautiful is that after a while, the power of momentum hits in.
Yes.
And it's like this wave that carries you and helps you when things get tough. You have that momentum carrying you and helping you. And I think that's a powerful force that most people never even understand or tap into.
Yes, absolute facts. And I think, what do you say to people that are getting held up on having big goals and big dreams, knowing clearly what they want, but then they have the others that are talking to them on the side? What have you done, or what have you advised people or mentored people on in regards to the others that are talking and chatting into their ear, trying to convince them to not go after their goals and or their dreams?
Well, you know, there's two types of others. First of all, there's the outside others, the voices, and then there's the echoes of the others which are running in the back of our mind. So first of all, I always tell people, if you want to manifest something fast, create as much space as possible in your life, because the universe has to fill it with something, and then do your best to say no and to stay away from toxic environments and toxic people. Just do your best to do that. And it's so beautiful nowadays, because nowadays, compared to 15 years ago when I was starting out, there are just so many communities where you can just go and you can surround yourself with like-minded people, even if it has to be online. So that's one thing. And then there's the voices of the inner world. And this is where I really encourage people to change some ideas that we might have. Because we believe we go through life being broken on the inside, and then something from the outside needs to save us or to fix us. We learn about the word education, which means we think it means to go through the schooling system and then whatever, you're educated. And we're always looking for a person of authority to tell us how to live our lives, right? Similar voices. So education comes from the Latin educo, which means to draw, to develop from within. So I really encourage people to start seeing themselves as being beautiful inside and start creating this beautiful environment within. To start treating that fear or that anxiety or those things that, you know, can become very contracting, very limiting, to start saying hello to them, to start welcoming them, to start breathing with them and start listening to them, because usually they have messages. They want to maybe keep you safe. Or maybe want you to prepare more, or need some reassurance, right? So if you think about it, if you look at all the major like prophets or even like some entrepreneurs, they go in silence, they go in solitude, and they become enlightened by going within.
Yes.
So I'm like, remove the voices on the outside, and they make a beautiful environment with the voices within. Your feelings are your allies. Your feelings can support you. Stop running away from your inner world. We have this beautiful world on the outside, which like it's so attracting, and people cannot close their eyes to just say hello to what's inside. And this is where so much beauty is as well. So if you understand that we're not broken, needing to be fixed, and then everything that's inside is something that has a treasure and a message for you. Campbell said that the cave you fear to enter contains the greatest treasure. I don't think he was talking about going out in caves.
No.
He was talking about going inside. And when you just make this beautiful space inside, things just get aligned.
Oh,
you
yeah.
just start seeing magical around you.
Yeah, you really can experience the magic. I've felt that. I've been through that process, and it's such a relief, actually, because at first you're fearful. Will I get the answers? Will I be able to do this? Am I going to understand? Am I going to be able to follow my intuition? But once it's like anything you do, right? Once you practice enough, you become really good at it. And then you can begin to hear your higher self talk to you. And that voice is your voice. I don't think it's any other voice that exists. I don't think it's any other deity's voice. I really believe it's our higher selves tapping in, looking to guide us and protect us. And I think another thing to go along with what you said, a lot of people, the thing that's limiting them or holding them back a lot of the times is they haven't forgiven themselves for things that have happened in the past.
Yeah.
And talking about going inside, along with that is going in and forgiving yourself for things in the past. It has a lot to do with opening up that heart chakra, really truly learning how to love yourself and respect yourself and forgive yourself for things that you've done wrong in the past, but also not just forgive, but to really meditate on what that thing was and understand exactly how it happened, what role you played in it, and how to not allow it to happen again, because now that's growth.
Yeah.
So now you're growing consciously, spiritually, you're going within, you're hearing your higher self, and you're developing a new type of habit, a habit of where you analyze your wrongdoings and where you begin to fix the problems and you learn not to duplicate that problem. Now you're being born again in the spirit.
Beautiful.
And you could be born again many times in one lifetime.
Every day.
Yeah, that's right. Literally. It's a big process. And so as you're going through all of this manifestation, and how did you make your next big leap into manifestation in terms of being able to bring this message to the world?
I just kept following what's coming up.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I had this idea to create social media communities, I also left my job in Bob Proctor's company, which was my dream job.
Wow.
I got depressed before leaving it and people in the team would say, "Oh, don't do this, like Bob's gonna get upset, and it's such a good opportunity. Like, don't go into the online world. It's hard to succeed there. Like a 2% chance, whatever." And I was like, should I?
Those are the voices.
And you know what happened? After getting depressed, and I'm like, no, I have to do this because it's such a calling for me. I wrote an email to Bob and said, "Bob, thank you so much. This is what I want to do." And he was so supportive.
Wow.
He wrote an email back to me and he said, "The most important thing in your life is that you do," and he put it in capitals. I still have the email, that you do what you want.
Wow.
You do what you want. Do what you want. Like, you have my full support.
Wow. Man, what a relief. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just started learning everything about this.
Yeah.
I learned how to build websites, and I started a little company, and things just started happening.
Yeah.
It's all about seeing the signs. Of course, you set the goals, you make the plans and everything, but just like relax a bit into it and enjoy it, because they're just things that happen that I have no idea how. I cannot explain them. I could not put them in a business plan. Like the way I met Bob Proctor and like the way I organized an event. If I would have gone at 19 to like a business consultant in Romania and say, I want to organize an event with a guy that charges $50,000 a day.
Right.
And he's like, "Okay, so you're 19, you don't know anything, you're making $300 a month."
Yeah.
He would be like, "Yo, go to school, kid."
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So even like, I was at Sean Kelly's podcast, and thank you for the introduction.
No problem.
I was in Bali, and we spoke, and I'm like, I'm gonna come to Miami for the Conscious Awards.
Yeah.
So I booked a flight to Miami. I booked also one to New York for another conference, and then I booked a flight to Vegas for 4 days.
Wow.
I felt like doing that, and then I connected. I have some family there, just to hang out for a while. But then I was like, I wanna do something more meaningful and more purpose-driven there. And then Sean messaged me like 2 days later. And I haven't been in Vegas in 7 years.
Wow.
So I believe there's this like beautiful synchronicity miracle zone that where when we're aligned with that higher self, and anyone can get super aligned very fast. We teach this to people. We just have to understand that we're usually driven by a stressed mind that wants to be in control. And beneath that stressed mind, there's that higher self, that aligned self. We call it the aligned self. There's the Buddha nature that Buddhists talk about. There's the Atman that Hindu tradition talks about. Eckhart Tolle talks about space consciousness.
Yeah.
And now there's even therapeutical models like internal family systems, a branch of psychotherapy, like very, very psychology oriented, that helps people get into that self energy. And you do that by radically accepting what is inside. Saying hello and accepting the fear or the anxiousness, just like loving yourself, hugging yourself. When you do that, your body relaxes and then you get aligned.
Yes.
And then things show up.
Yeah.
The next step's always in front of us.
Right. And man, you've done an amazing job. I mean, I've seen your Instagram account just grow in leaps and bounds. And I've seen the technique and the method you use to bring those inspirational messages every single day. They're clear, they're concise, they're easy to read. The color tone is very calming of the background, and people just really resonate with that information. It's incredible. Yeah.
It's small, it's simple, but it helps. And I got a lot of people, I met them, they're like, thank you so much for those Bible of the days that have been helping a lot.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was sharing this at the awards as well. I had a bit of a dark time last year. I actually asked for, when I turned from 33 to 34, I said, I want enlightenment. I asked the universe. And then I got into this very abusive relationship where I was like lied to, abused. It got me, it triggered something so deep in me that I didn't even know how to handle. And I ended up at the psychiatrist.
Wow.
True story. I never thought this would happen to me, but I realized I built so much on this foundation of like people pleasing and like honoring myself. So I had to clean that up. But what's interesting is that I had some dark moments. So I called my admin of the page, Steve.
Yeah.
He supervises the page and the content there, and I said, hey, I'm going through something really bad right now.
Yeah.
I'm having a mental breakdown. Please take care of the page. I cannot do anything for now. I couldn't do anything for months.
Wow.
I went into my own processes and healings and a lot of beautiful things.
Yeah.
But then he took the page to, we had a reach at a certain moment a few months ago of 125 million. And he did this without me.
Wow.
So I can just go on a spaceship to Mars, and then this is still happening. It's still going.
Incredible.
It's an idea. It's just an idea. There's this quote that says, "There's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come." It's working by itself, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, that's just mind blowing, and that account's just growing, and your contributions to it are incredible. And those live streams that you put out, people look forward. When people see that notification pop up, Law of Attraction is live, they can't wait to get on there because they know it could be their darkest moment. They could have been having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month. They're going to get some inspiration. They're going to get some motivation. They're going to get some knowledge, but not just any kind of knowledge that they can apply to their lives right now in that moment. And I think that's a big part of why your account is so huge, reaching, 5.6 million, whatever the number is now. But it's in the, over 5 million. But because the people are going to get a solution, they're going to get something that's going to give them a concept or an idea in their mind that they can really understand and discern, and they're going to be able to act on that. If they act on it, they're going to see change in their life that moment. And that is what's so impactful about that, being able to bring solutions to people, which is what your account's doing.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, and thank you for seeing that. We had Lindsay Lohan pop on the Instagram Live last night, and it's in a phase where like our Instagram Lives, there's something with lives on Instagram, like a lot of creators have not been having so much engagement on their lives, like we have less people. And then Lindsay Lohan popped up last night, and then a few weeks ago, Conor McGregor popped up on one of the lives. I'm mind blown when that happens. And we started the lives in the pandemic, just because I was thinking that we should create a space where people can come together and know that, hey, we're going through something bad right now, but let's be together here. Doesn't matter where we're from. Let's not go through this alone, because loneliness and it can be really bad. Togetherness is beautiful. So I think people when they come on the live, they just see a guy that just has the space for them where you can just be yourself and receive a breath and relax, and we're all here together, and there's love here.
Yeah, exactly. More importantly, the love. That's what they feel. They feel that love. They feel the sincerity of the whole thing, and it gives them the ability to just take that, just drop their shoulders and let the anxiety release which gives them some relief. In some cases, some of those people haven't had relief like that in maybe weeks, months, maybe even years.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
We have many stories from people who said, I was alone, I was in pain, especially in the pandemic. I even got a video message from someone. He said, I was in pain. I needed to have back surgery for a hernia, this hernia, and they wouldn't take me because it wasn't considered like a emergency thing. He said, I was alone, I was suicidal, and thank you for putting me in touch with like-minded people along the law of attraction, manifestation. This helped me go through that period. Nothing rocket science, just, hey, you're not alone. We're here. We're going to do this together.
Right. Powerful. If you don't, do you mind sharing a little bit about, how you got out of that dark space you ended up in? How did you come back to being, better than you were even before, and becoming, back to being your normal self and understanding the power of learning from that situation and becoming an inspiration again?
Yeah, there were some things that shook me to my core, like being lied to, like discovering that you can be with someone for a while and then like a lot of the things they said were actually lies.
Yeah.
And what really got me to have a better relationship with myself is treating my anxiety like it's not a trauma that I have to push or overcome. It's actually my intuition, because a part of me was seeing so many red flags.
Yeah.
Because there was constant abuse, verbal abuse, like it was a physical abuse episode one time. But then my savior tendencies, my people pleasing tendencies were like, no, I can help this person, I can heal this person, whatever. And the episode would just keep going and going and going. Yeah. And at a certain moment, my body just started collapsing. I started getting anxiety. For the first time in my life, I ended up by the psychiatrist. I couldn't believe it, because a year before that, I thought I'm the strongest person in the world and that nothing can shake me. And and then I really started feeling what anxiety really, really means. Yeah. And I've had episodes in my life where I've went to 12 surgeries. I've experienced some of the a lot of physical pain. Yeah. And I thought if I've experienced that, I can just nothing can touch me. But when someone gets into your system and into your wounds and shake your system up. Yeah. And this is something because I asked when my birthday, I asked for some enlightenment. Yeah. And I had such a bad episode on my birthday with that person. Yeah. And I had to learn how to go in the actual darkness, because I couldn't sleep at night many times, and learn how to listen to these parts of myself that were just screaming for attention. Yeah. And how to set boundaries and how to communicate myself and what I want, and how to let fear and people pleasing, dictate my life, put myself on the second side so I can just be there for other people who just don't appreciate it. And we just keep taking and taking and taking until you're depleted. And when you're depleted, they will just go to the next person because you're not serving them anymore. So I just had to learn to honor myself and to be myself. And I discovered such a beautiful world inside where even as I said before, you are not broken, needing to be fixed. Everything there is beautiful, waiting for you to see it, to feel it, to welcome it. And when you do that, you're going to see how things just I had a meditation a few months ago. I had so much bliss. Yeah. Meditation for me used to be like, I'm tired, I'm stressed, let me do a guided meditation or some brain entrainment or something so I can keep going. Right. Now I don't do that anymore. I might have some music, but my meditation is just breathing and saying hello, welcoming everything that's inside. If I have pain in my back, I'll be like, hello, pain in my back. I see you. I welcome you. It just relaxes, and feelings and emotions, and it just gets so deep. I had this meditation where I just felt so much bliss. Yeah. And I had this thought in my mind that said, you can just be like this forever. Wow. So it's like in those moments of darkness, those things come up to be seen and healed. And when you do that, you're going to have such a beautiful relationship with yourself that the outside things become secondary. Yeah. You're still in the outside world, but you don't need anyone to make you feel special or to make you feel complete. You are complete. Yeah. It's beautiful to have meaningful, beautiful connections with people, but with respect, with safety, with boundaries,
Yeah.
of you being seen and understood and supported for who you are, not for some ideal or some image in someone's mind.
Right. And I've been through something very similar, so I can relate to you 1,000%. I went to the same dark place, my friend. It was bad, and it was embarrassing too, because of what happened and how it happened and the lies and the deceit and all the drama. And I was like, this isn't me, you know? And I read a book, and this book, it said, when a giver meets a taker, they get into a relationship. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. I'm the giver. I'm a give, people pleaser, try to make you happy, try to save you.
Yeah.
And man, when we meet with the person that has a narcissistic tendency or narcissistic personality, it's over for us, man. We don't draw enough boundaries. Now I've learned, set boundaries, don't lose track of who I am. You know, everything that you talked about is identical, understanding that anxiety and realizing that's my higher self trying to send me a message. My intuition is saying, hey, something's wrong here. So I've been through that, and it's a dark place. It's really hard to get out of. It took me probably about 1.5 years to come all the way back to my real self. But, you know, fortunately, man, you had the perseverance to see through that, man. So,
and I had so many people that just love me, and because no one knew.
Right.
So when people found out, like, Tiberius, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Here's a contact. Yeah. Here's a shaman.
Nice.
Here's a therapist.
Yeah.
We're here. We're here. We love.
Beautiful.
We're here. And it just like, I thought my mind is not gonna work anymore. I thought I'm not gotta be back. And and the thing that happens is, and I'm sure a lot of listeners might be going through this, and you do this because you have a beautiful energy inside. You have empathy, and you have this shine that you might not see in yourself because we're not programmed to see it because of our childhood. But when you learn how to work this energy in your favor, and when you learn to bring awareness and set clear boundaries, you're gonna see that you have a superpower.
Yep.
The people in your life that are abusive, they don't have this power. They don't have this level of empathy, and they don't have this intelligence. You're extremely intelligent because you know how to make other people feel good. You know how to feel other people. And this can become a power. When you clean up the people pleasing and the putting yourself last, this can become a power because you can feel, you can genuinely love someone, and you're coming from a place where you respect yourself.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing place to be. Can you, what final words did you want to give someone that's on the journey of manifesting and trying to create their reality, trying to build their dream board or their vision board, and trying to achieve some things in their lives?
I would say start looking for like-minded people. Go on online communities. We have one on Law of Attraction Live, on Forbidden Knowledge. Just go and find like-minded people and just communicate and start collaborating. Even if you just say, hey, let's keep in touch. Let's meet once a week and let's do some manifestation exercises together. Don't go alone through this journey, because we are made instinctually to work together as teams, as tribes. 50,000 years ago, if you would move away from your tribe, you would start feeling loneliness. And then loneliness would pull you back in, right? Now, people are so connected, but they're lonely. It's becoming an epidemic. Don't be alone. Don't be lonely. It's the most abundant time to live right now.
Yes.
And we will survive by being here and going through this together with like-minded people. So that's number one. And second, just say no to anything that's not serving you. You know, sometimes we just hang out with the wrong people because unconsciously we need to have that feeling of connection. Start saying no to that, and then space will be created in your life. And then that's an opportunity for you to go out there and meet like-minded people. And, you know, I took a lot of risk in my life, and fear can be a motivating factor for me, but it's not the same for everyone. I would really say start building a beautiful relationship with yourself. Start breathing more. Start saying and welcoming everything that's inside. Because what happens is, like, we're natural born manifestors, but we're just so stressed and so locked up. Just learn how to relax. Learn how to be okay with yourself. Understand that you're not broken, needing to be fixed. and there's so much beauty inside. When you do that, you're gonna start seeing the world in a different way. And then just like what my mentor told me years ago, what Bob Proctor said, set a goal that is really meaningful for you. Set something that you have no idea how you're going to make it, but something that you really want to do, something that just lightens you up, something that makes you feel alive, and then just go after that and take simple steps every single day. You don't have to do this unsurmountable whatever effort. Take 1 hour a day and make it that sacred time and that sacred space when you're gonna say, hey, you know what? This is me working on my dream. This is me understanding that there's potential in me. My mentor used to always say in his seminars, he said, God's gift to you is more talent and ability than you will ever hope to use in this lifetime. And your gift to God is to develop as much as that talent and ability that you can in this lifetime. It's your gift. And you don't have to. I don't think God's there waiting for you to do things. I think God's good, you know, and you just have fun and enjoy your life, making an exciting journey. Do something meaningful. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Don't leave your talents underneath a rock, like the old parable says.
Yeah, and if you don't know what your talents are, go and get some help. Go do some quizzes. Go online, just learn. Know thyself. This is the most amazing time to be alive because everything's here. Information, people, opportunities, money, whatever you need, it's here. And you can make it happen. You can put it together. So that's it.
All right, great, man. Well, thank you for coming all the way out here.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, and congratulations again on Influencer of the Year at the 2nd Annual Forbidden Conscious Awards.
Thank you, and thank you, Law of Attraction Live. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for voting. I received this award on behalf of everyone. You won.
And make sure y'all follow Law of Attraction Live on all social media platforms and tap in because it's an amazing place to get manifestation ideas and inspiration, motivation on a daily basis.
Thank you.
All right, peace.
Boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it. Quitting was never an option. Exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. Nah, you cannot stop it. Quitting was never an option.